Hi, I'm Brett Benson, Fox 13's chief meteorologist. One of the interesting things about working here at Fox 13 is we have people from all over the country. They all have different backgrounds, different educational backgrounds. Here's some of the things they said they learned while they were in school.
A weird background because I was always interested in communication and broadcasting. I played with the tape recorder when I was a kid and that sort of thing. Pretended to be an anchor man. But I didn't study it in college. I was a history major and I loved it. I really loved it. I loved political science, I loved English, I loved writing. And then I went to study theology at a Protestant seminary for 3 years and got a master's of divinity there, and decided that I wanted to be a broadcaster more than a pastor, so I went back to graduate school in communications.
I was always interested in film and television, but they didn't have anything at that time in our school. Went to BYU in 1996 and I started into a film degree, and then I took some TV classes and really liked that and switched over to television. And so I got a broadcast communications degree.
One day I wound up in this architecture studio class and I thought it was awesome and creative and fun, and the studio environment was really unique. In order to do architecture, you have to do a lot of math and engineering. So I kind of by default wound up in the engineering department and doing structural engineering. After that, my very last class of college was all about the environment and environmentalism. And from there, it was really a springboard into working for an environmental nonprofit, which I loved. So it was definitely a very roundabout path, but good to experiment.
Well, in high school, I was really into film production, and anything with cameras and lights and a stage. When I got into college, I did film production, lighting, shooting short films.
I started at Salt Lake Community College with a marketing emphasis. Found out my degree wasn't transferable. Started over at Dixie State College. Originally was a biology major. Went from biology to computer science to mass communication.
There are many courses students can take in high school and college to help them further their career in journalism.
I decided I wanted to be in media. I started actually taking pictures for the school newspaper, and that's what really piqued my interest, and that's what kind of led into the mass communication program. And then from there I was doing writing, shooting, as well as online editing.
Well, definitely art is mandatory for graphic arts. A lot of it is just learning the programs, Photoshop, Illustrator, Flash, any kind of Adobe products will help. If there are classes offering that, which there are now quite a few, that definitely helps.
When I was in college, I got involved with the community service center at college, and I got involved with political advocacy and stuff like that. So I was working with nonprofits up at the state legislature, and boy, that really gave me a leg up. I learned the Capitol from working up there and trying to be on the lobbying for the Baby Your Baby program or those kinds of things when I was in college, and that really helps me know how to navigate up there now.
Definitely an intro to photojournalism. And I think a lot of high school kids might think they want to go into photojournalism and then see some of the stuff you have to cover and maybe back out. And I think it's important to study that stuff. If people are in high school or junior high, they want to get into photojournalism, I would say pick up your camera and go shoot. Don't ever put it down. And then you'll also start to get a feel for what it is that people are looking for. And you're never too young to freelance. And if you see something going on, go shoot it. And then try and work your way in, call the media stations. I mean, that's what I was doing in St. George. We'd go shoot something, and we called every single media outlet and asked them if they were interested.
Right. If this is what you want to do, you just need to be able to communicate. And I guess the other side of that is if there are chances for presentations, like when science fairs would come around, I'd do the oral. They had an oral report option, and I do that instead of the big boxy kind of presentation. And so any chance you have to actually get involved with that stuff, and if that doesn't sound like fun to you, like you want to avoid those big writing classes, then don't go into this. It's not your thing, because that's really the skill.
But just taking classes isn't enough. There are other skills and personality traits that can help you excel in the news environment.
To work in news, you have to be quick on your feet. It's a lot of pressure. You're working on a deadline. Especially in graphics, it's all kind of disposable art. You just go as fast as you can. And so it's all a balance of, time management and creativity mixed together.
I have ADHD, and it's not something I actually knew when I was growing up. But as I learned it and realized it later in life, I realized that I thrive on these daily deadlines. And I'll bet counselors know a lot of students who go into a funk when there's a project that's due in 3 months, and they have no idea how to get from A to B to C to D. I can get from A to D in a day, but tell me it's 3 months, I'll be in a fetal position crying. So if you have students like that, this might be a good job for them.
You got to be quick thinking. You got to have some tough skin, because things are going to go wrong, and you cannot dwell on if something goes wrong. You have to overcome it and move past it. You have to have some management skills, because being the director, you're in charge of your crew.
I think the most important skills that you can have in TV news are analysis and being able to get at the heart of something. Being able to see the forest through the trees is really important, because when you can see a bigger idea, you can tell a bigger and more relevant story. And in that sense, I actually think that history classes are critical, because history classes allow you to see facts and how it relates to a bigger picture.
I think they have to be very upbeat. They have to be able to see the good in the world, because there's a lot of bad. You've got to be quick on your feet, and you've got to be a really good problem solver.
People skills are important. You need to be able to work as a team. You need to be able to function with other people, be able to collaborate. It's essential in the workplace today.
You do want to study communication. I mean, you do, at some point, you need to make a tape of yourself doing what you need to do and showing people that you can do it. I don't think you have to be a communication major if you're interested in things that are in the community, and that can be political science, and it can be any number of things, the arts, it can be exercise and sports science for that matter, if you want to be a sportscaster.
The personality traits that you need in news are you need to be a quick thinker. You have to be able to work on a team, play well with others. You have to work well under pressure. You have to be a fast learner. And you have to be okay with getting it wrong and admitting that you've gotten it wrong and doing it right the next time.
It's all communication. I take my elements, as I mentioned, and then I tell my crew, I communicate to them, this is what we're doing. We're going to this source, and this is the task I need you to do. It's constant communication. We're the communications industry, and I'm talking with the producer the whole time. We're talking constantly. I'm talking with my crew. The reporters are talking to the producer. It's just a long string of communication that's getting this on air.
Communication classes, I'm sure they have communication classes, English classes, any kind of classes where you're working as a team, kind of collaborating, and then just learning to listen more than talk.
For me, I really liked watching the news. I loved watching political programs, so I'd watch This Week with David Brinkley, and I'd watch, just all of those like Sunday morning shows with Sam and Cokie and all that sort of thing. And then I also, and it's kind of funny, but I loved reading out loud. I'd read poetry and memorize poems, and I'd just kind of recite them out loud for fun. And I feel like it just kind of trained myself to love language, to love the spoken language, and have a sense for the rhythms of it and how words work together is a good thing to develop.
As for me, I found great looks and humility have taken me a long way. I mean, look where it's gotten me. All right, let's move on to the question and answer session. Now make sure you grill these people, because they're getting paid and they're getting the day off.